You probably figured out by now that YouTube is a place that can be fun. It's a creative outlet. It's a place for you to build a community that you can connect with on similar likes and interests and hobbies that you have. A place where you can make money while just waking up every day and enjoying your job. But on the other hand, there's something that people don't really talk about often, and it's something that I'm a huge advocate about. And with this being National Mental Health Awareness Month, I felt like this video is important. This video is here not to discourage you, but to prepare you for some of the things you can face. A lot of times, we as YouTubers, I mean, I've been on the platform for 3 years, and being a growth educator, we can talk about the fluffy stuff. We can talk about how to get views. We can tell you what to say in your video that's going to keep your audience on longer, but we don't tell you the other things. And YouTube isn't just butterflies and rainbows. And a lot of the times when we see a rainbow, we forget that a storm had to happen before that rainbow could shine. And it's the same thing on YouTube. When you see a successful YouTuber or content creator and you see their rainbows, you aren't seeing the storms they had to weather to get to that rainbow. You aren't seeing what's going on behind the camera, behind the scenes, what happens when the camera shuts off. And today I want to share a little bit of my story on struggling with mental health issues basically my entire life since I was a teenager, and how YouTube went from a place of being a creative outlet that actually helped my mental health to becoming a vehicle that basically destroyed my mental health even faster. This is definitely not the type of videos you normally see. If you are new here, my name is Tiffany Day. This is Navigating YouTube, where I help lifestyle creators build their audience, influence, and income on YouTube. And in order for you to successfully do that, this message is important. This is unscripted. I have no idea what I'm about to say, but I do know that I felt compelled to share this, just like I felt compelled to share my story on my other lifestyle channel. I started YouTube by accident, and it was because I needed something to really help my mental health. I was a new mom, but I was a career mom, and I was struggling really bad with postpartum depression, which is something that happens after giving birth, and I was crying every day, and it was a really rough 4 months. And I remember that person, and I remember looking at myself in the mirror, seeing the depression just swarm over me, on top of already having general anxiety disorder and post traumas in my life. But YouTube became a spot where I could openly share my struggles, and it was helping. You know, and in the past, what I was doing is I was using my job to mask my issues and mask I was struggling with postpartum depression. And so when I would go to work, it was like turning on and off a switch. I would, you know, go from being a mom who was struggling at home as a new mom, and I would turn off that switch and I would go to work, and I felt like a whole new person. I was living like 2 lives, right? But then when I got home, the anxiety and depression just swarmed over me again. So when I didn't have a job to go to because the company I worked for had to shut down, I didn't have an escape. I didn't have a mask. And it's basically, so what people don't tell you is mental health is very much like a broken bone. And if you don't get the proper care for that broken bone and it's not reset correctly, it gets easier to break every single time, to the point of it may never be the same again. And if you're not taking care of your mental health and you're using a mask instead of really dealing with the issues and really seeing, okay, what are some positive ways, or what are some, you know, active ways that I can reset my mental health bone, so this way it's not easier to break each time, it gets harder and harder to break each time, you're going to continue to struggle. And this is where YouTube started to be that cast that was setting my bone correctly, because I was using it as a tool to overcome my mental health, to share my stories, to be the advocate that I like to be, and let people know that they're not alone. Let new moms know that, hey, postpartum depression does not mean you're a bad mom. It's just something that we go through. But then I found the other side of YouTube. I found the business side of YouTube, and it started to become that job for me again, to where my bone was broken and I wasn't resetting it correctly. You're not prepared for all of this, you know, because nobody tells you when you jump into YouTube, there's a mental aspect to it, there's a mental side to it. Nobody says this stuff. So when it arises and you're struggling with this, you know, you start to really like they dislike my video, which means they dislike me, when really that person could be deflecting, because in reality, unhappy people don't like to see happy people. That's all it is. And so they might be having a bad day, and I've learned to like reply back to comments and say, I'm sorry that you're having a bad day. I hope whatever you're going through gets better. Because you don't know what that person's going through and why they left that comment. You might have just been the wrong video at the wrong time, and they were just having a bad moment, and you know, they saw that you were happy and they were just like, ugh, I don't like happy people. Be unhappy with me. Really just protecting your headspace is gonna help you overcome these issues. I know part of it isn't other people, it was me. And you know, we as YouTubers put unrealistic expectations on ourselves. We put pressure on ourselves. We put these outrageous goals on ourselves. And we do this because we see other people have accomplished it and we're like, okay, I can also do that. So then when we don't do that, we think we suck at life. But it's not, and this is why. You can have two creators make the exact same video, I promise you. Exact same title, exact same SEO, exact same script, exact same everything, right? And one creator will always get more views than the other creator. And it doesn't mean the creator that didn't get as many views is horrible, right? That's what our mental health tells us when it's bad. It's like, oh, you're a bad creator, they're better than you, you're never gonna succeed at anything. That's not it. It's that even though these two creators made the exact same thing, maybe they're in a similar niche, these two creators have two completely different, unique value propositions. And the more you find your unique value proposition, the more you can position yourself in your niche, and your niche starts to feel less saturated. You really start to find your audience because you're not searching for other people's audience. I am in a very saturated niche in the motherhood community, but I'm not like every other mom vlogger. I really position myself as a mental health mom vlogger, a postpartum mom vlogger. I share the struggles, the good and the bad. I do not have my kids in organized, coordinated outfits, and we're taking family pictures every winter. That's not my unique value proposition. That's not my strong point, and that's okay. And it doesn't mean that that mom that is doing that is better than me. It doesn't mean that vlogger that does have the coordinated outfits and has the pretty house all the time is better than my unmade bed. Like that's not it, you know? So we really just need to detach yourself from that. We only see, you know, 10, 20, 15 minutes in a person's day. Most of the time we're showing a highlight reel, the happiest moments of our life, the happiest moments of our day. We're not showing all the other stuff. And so again, when you're looking at that perfectly curated video or picture or whatever it is, don't get bad on yourself because you're like, oh, my video was horrible, I just had a rough day, blah, blah, blah. You don't know how long it took them to make that video. I know creators who literally will dress in the same thing for 3 days to complete a video because they couldn't complete it all in one day. And I think like the next thing too, going back to, you know, the pressures that we put on ourselves is those goals that we put on ourselves. We don't have a boss. We are our own boss. We set our own quotas. We set our own goals and our own limits. And I mean, I even did it with this channel knowing about the more mental side of things. And, you know, I got obsessed with Vanessa Lau's, you know, journey. She's amazing. And I was getting excited because I was like, I can hit 100,000 subscribers in a year. And I was tracking my goals with her goals. And I was noticing, you know, I broke down her time frame. She reached this many subscribers on this date and this many subscribers on this date. And, you know, the beginning of our channels, going back to hers to mine, like we were on the same path. Like I was hitting the same goals as she was, the same view counts. And I was like, I'm going to do this. But then her channel blew up and took off and mine didn't. And I started to feel bad. I was like, what's wrong with me? But there's nothing wrong with me. This is what's wrong. Vanessa is basically single, no kids, right? She may be in a relationship, but single, no kids. She has time and energy to put all of her time and energy into her business, into growing her channel, into doing what she wants to do, right? She has that one focus. I'm a mom of 2 toddlers. I don't even get to sit down for 5 minutes and finish my dinner. How am I really gonna expect to finish 1 YouTube video in a day, 12 YouTube videos in a day? I can't do that. I don't have the capacity to do that. And so when you set your goals, you really need to go off of your own capacity and not off of someone else's timeline, because YouTube is different for everyone. It's a different journey for everybody. So something I really want to leave you with to help you overcome some of these mental battles, and, you know, just understanding that one, You are not your videos. You are not your content. You are a content creator. You create videos. And when you detach yourself from your video, although we get emotionally attached, but you really need to detach yourself from the video so you stop making emotion-based decisions, because that's when you start going, ugh, they dislike me, instead of saying, okay, that person disliked my video. I wonder why. I wonder what I could do to improve my watch time next time. I wonder what I could do to improve my CTR next time, right? It's always like, oh, they don't like me. Oh, I'm not a good artist. Oh, I have a boring life. And that's not it. Okay, so detach yourself from your videos. You are not your videos. You are the creator of your videos. And when you do that, you'll be able to make more data and performance-based decisions. You'll be able to look at your analytics, see what went wrong and how you can improve it for next time. The other thing you need to do is make sure you are not putting unrealistic expectations or pressure on yourself based on someone else's performance, someone else's goals, or someone else's life. YouTube has so many different avenues. You know, my motherhood channel is really not meant for me to make money. It just happens, right? I don't go out seeking brand sponsorships. If some come across, I do it if it aligns, but I don't use that channel. And for a while I was, but that's when my mental health was like being destroyed, because I was like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to go viral. I was chasing views, chasing numbers. But I had to step back and say, this was just my creative outlet, and I just want it to be fun again. I don't want to go viral again. Going viral kind of like ruined my channel for me. And we have to remember, some people just do YouTube for fun. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Don't listen to anybody. There's nothing wrong with not going viral. That's your journey. That's your story. That's what you want. Other people are on YouTube because you want to go viral. So yes, you do have to chase the views. You do have to chase the subscribers. You do have to make sure you're doing those trending content. And that's fine. That's your journey. That's your goals. And other people use YouTube as a sales funnel. And that's a completely different look than the YouTuber who's doing it for fame and virality and all of that. Don't just base it off of face value that, okay, they reached 100,000 in a year, because maybe they reached 100,000 in a year and they want to go viral, and you want to use it as a sales funnel. Your stories and your maps are going to look completely different. So that's going to help you out a lot. So just make sure that you're sticking with your journey and your reasons and your why, which brings me to creating your goals and your story and your why. So once you have your why, like what is the reason you're on YouTube? What's the main goal? What do you want to do? You want to set what's known as a pact. And I am huge on this. And it is a goal setting system that really helps me keep my mental health in check. And that is because it stands for patience, action, consistency, and time. Every time I set a goal, I think about the pact system. I know, okay, when I set this goal, I need to have patience, because as soon as you start getting impatient, that's when you start getting down on yourself. That's when your self-worth kind of goes out the door, because you're, again, emotion based on your video. You're attaching yourself to your content. And then when you have patience, you need to make sure that you're taking action steps. Do not think manifesting is just making a wish and putting it out into the universe, and if you just say it enough times, it'll finally come back to you. That's not what that is. You need to have action steps. So if you're like, I want to land 5 brand deals this month, you need to do the action steps that's going to help you get those 5 brand deals this month. And maybe that is sending out 5 emails to new brands every single day. And that's where your consistency comes in. If you have an action step and you're like, I'm gonna do X for this amount of time on these days, be consistent, you know, and then have patience with that. It always goes back around. And then the last thing is time. You wanna make sure you're giving yourself enough time to complete these tasks, to continue your patience, while still closing the gap a little bit to kind of like light a fire under you and really make you take off. You know, and a good example of that is the reality of, there was no way, with how busy my life is right now and with my children and being a wife and everything else, that I had the capacity to do the work to get to 100,000 subscribers in a year. There was no way. So when I set that goal, I obviously was not going off the pack system. I was going off the comparison system. I was going off of somebody else's goals and charts and strategy. And if I would have really sat down and said, okay, you are capable of doing X, Y, and Z, and this is what your action steps will look like, I would have been able to be like, okay, 100,000 is not gonna work for me, but maybe we can do this, or maybe we can do that, whatever it is. So really just understand that when you are setting these goals, and it's going to help your mental health a lot. But the biggest thing is just make sure you're having fun, and don't feel like you have to do a certain type of video because that's what gets you the views or that's what gets you the subscribers. Really just think about things and detach yourself from your content, and just be the creator who looks at the analytics and just improves a little bit every single time, and just have patience. this is a marathon. And again, just remember, once you finally reached your rainbow, you're gonna look back and say, wow, I weathered that storm. I went through a lot to get here, and you're going to finally understand what other creators go through. But again, it's hard right now because not every creator tells you what their storm looked like before they reach their rainbow. So I hope this helps you out a little bit. If you guys do want more information on how to get more views using keyword research, you can go ahead and check out this video right here. And don't forget to take time for your mental health this month.